Hello. Today I'm going to show you how I paint skin while also explaining my drawing process featuring Princess Peach. I know there are proper techniques to paint skin, like some kind of undertone and such on different parts of the face, but I don't really apply them in my drawing, so this is not really a tutorial of how to properly paint skin. It's just me showing you guys how I do it. What I'm doing here is creating different layers for different parts of the drawing. After that, I lowered the opacity of the sketch layer, and let's move on to the skin shading. I'm gonna alpha lock the layer, so whatever I paint on will not go outside the shape I already created. Now, I pick a more saturated and slightly darker shade of the skin for the shadow of the face using a flat brush. Different lighting will affect where the shadow is, so if you want special lighting, it will be very helpful to have a reference. For now, I'm just gonna shade her face in natural soft lighting, and we will add dramatic lighting later on. Now I use the soft brush to lightly blend out the shadow I painted earlier. Make sure you don't overblend because you don't want to lose all the details you just created. After laying out the first round of shadow, I pick a darker and more saturated shade than the last one to go over the darker area of the face. Whenever I pick a darker shade, the reason why I also make it more saturated is to avoid it being muddy or dull. Here's a quick comparison. I like to work on other parts of the face, then continue working on the skin layer after, because I think it's easier to paint the skin after having other parts of the face painted. It makes it easier for me to visualize and view the face as a whole. Also, this is a very small detail, but I feel like it helps making the character a part of the background. What I'm going to do is to add a light touch of the sky color on the skin. I create a layer on top of the skin layer in overlay mode, and lightly paint the light blue color where the brightest point of her face is. And here's a quick comparison. After adding highlights on a separate layer, I go back to the skin layer and retouch it with some more shadow. Now I'm gonna go ahead and paint the rest of the drawing. For the hair, I have separate layers for different parts of the hair, like front, middle, and the back. And as I'm trying to create a silhouette of each layer, I lower the opacity of the layers behind it so I can see what I'm working on with the layer in front. After that, I alpha lock each layer and start working on the shading. I'm not sure why, but the hair painting isn't too great today, so I had to redo it. What I'm doing here is pick a darker and more saturated color of the hair and use this big soft brush to brush over where the shadow would be, just to like the soft lighting before I go into the details. And I think that was better than what I did earlier, so yeah, I guess this works. I wasn't sure how shiny I want her hair to look, so that's why you see me playing around with the layers and the layer mode here. And I'm just adding details to the hair here. I don't know what else to say. Are you guys still here? If you're still here, then nice. I added an overlay layer on top to make her hair very yellow, like how it looks like in the video game, but then it looks too unrealistic, I guess, so that's why later on I end up removing that overlay layer. I really struggle with her shoulder guard here because the reference I have didn't show enough details about it. Also, I realized that I made her outfit too pink, so I had to fix that too. I didn't really like the color of the hair, so I'm attempting to change the hue and the brightness, whatever, to make it somewhat better. And then I start shading, like putting more shadows in the hair. Yes, really stressing out and not happy with the hair. I don't really understand how the curves work, even though I'm an artist and a graphic designer. So, I'm just messing around with it here and it works for me. I tried out this, I don't know if you guys know this gem hack on TikTok, but maybe I'm just dumb, but it didn't work on me. So I had to do it the way that I always do it. Now, this part is pretty tricky for me because I don't know. I don't usually draw weapons, but good thing I found a reference for the exact axe that she's using. So let's see if I can make it look okay. I didn't follow exactly how the reference looked like. I think I just based on mostly the shape of it. But for the rendering, I kind of add a little bit more shading here and there. I don't know. I should have added a little yellow tint because this material is reflective and her hair is yellow. But I didn't do that in that drawing. I only just come up with it now that I'm recording my voiceover while editing the video. God damn it. Okay, relax, Lila. So I painted one gem in the middle and then duplicate it on the side, change the hue and duplicate on the other side because I'm lazy. I've never done this in my drawing, but I saw an artist that I really liked did this. So I create a layer on top of the axe but below Princess Peach and have the sky color painted, like airbrush it lightly around her. So it looks like, like it makes her pop out of the background and you can see that the axe is actually behind her instead of sticking to her. So I kind of finished all the rendering part here and the drawing looks okay, but I feel like it's missing something. It's time for some dramatic lighting. So I'm gonna hide the background layer and export the whole drawing as a PNG so it has no background. Now I add the image I just exported back into the canvas. I added a clipping mask layer on top using the hue of the background, make it much darker and set that layer to multiply mode. Lower the opacity until you see fit and let's erase the part where you want the light to shine. It is pretty important to use reference here unless you're an art god, which I'm not, so I'm using my old drawing as a reference here. I then created an overlay layer on top and just pick a bright yellowish orange color and paint over the brightest part of the drawing. Make sure it's super subtle. To retouch a little, I also create another multiply layer to paint over the darkest area of the whole drawing. I know it looks super dark here, it's just because I wanted to see it clearly what I'm painting. So that's why I make it like full opacity, but after I'm done, I reduce the opacity and it will look normal. I turn off the background layer again, export just her without the background, import it again just so I can fix on a little bit of the details. The reason why I'm doing this is that I don't want to flatten all the layer that I have because what if I want to change certain parts, right? So the reason why I keep saving the flat image is because I can modify it, but I also have the original one. And that's basically it. This drawing took me 4 hours. I hope it looks good to you guys. I know I'm not the best at explaining, but I hope that whatever I say about the skin, how I draw skin was helpful to any of you. But yeah, if you make it this far, if you're still watching, thank you so much. Bye!